Hey, it's time for the annual Santa Crawl. All you bros and woo girls are out in full force and they're shouting up the town. Oh no, a 1988 Plymouth Reliant. Hope you didn't street park it, unless you like waking up to a hood covered in Jason-shaped dents and vomit streaks the defendant will try to pass off as reindeer turds. It's holiday season. Protect your assets.
Finally,
a K-Car. One of the most important cars of the 20th century. I call the K-Car more influential in North America for economy cars than the Volkswagen Beetle, Ford Falcon, Chevy 2, J-Body, or even the Mustang. The Mustang was a style and marketing revolution, but it didn't advance engineering or popularize new drivelines. But the Chrysler K platform is the keystone of the bridge between old world, front engine, rear drive economy cars with carburation and points ignition, and modern fuel-injected front-engine front-wheel drive efficiency. Because the K platform drives like a car from the early 1970s with the technology of a car from 1988. What that did was provide a low barrier of entry for your grandparents. Your relatives grew up driving straight-six Aspens and Fairmonts for the first half of their lives, and damn if they're gonna drive some front-wheel drive, stir-fried, four-cylinder karate box. Oh, what's this? A brown station wagon? With simulated wire wheels? Now this I like. My name's William Fenstermacher. I order chicken soup and eat around the broth and vegetables. Don't go to the Pottsville Hospital. They'll just take your gallbladder out. The K-Car is a drizzle of name brand extra virgin olive oil over your shaved dick cock before your first professional hand job by Luke, the Milwaukee Gripper Hudson. Doing a history segment on this would almost feel redundant in that the history of the K-Car is littered throughout this channel, in the endless talks of the Arab oil crisis and how it spawned increased sales of smaller, more efficient foreign imports. And then Lee Iacocca had the idea to cut costs by having the engineers create cars that pooled from a common resource apart so they weren't making the same car 100 times over at different levels of complexity. The K platform featured a layout that was a transverse engine, front-wheel drive, an independent front, and semi-independent rear suspension. It was a versatile platform, in the sense that it could be shortened, elongated, custom to fit different body styles, different trim levels, compact, mid-size sport cars, and even minivans. Iacocca credited the K platform with allowing Chrysler to pay back its government loans in less than 10 years. The first production figures were 151,637 cars in 1981, and that was just for the Reliant K. Forget the Aries. Chrysler and the K platform were the one true pairing. The most iconic duo since family members on Facebook and sharing articles on missing people who already been found. They're Salt and Pepper, the rap group, and the condiments. They're Netflix and stalling at 25%.
Oh yeah, that fitment. I can fit my whole fingers in this. Glove and all. Oh, it gets tighter as I go up.
Look at this map light.
Oh, are you ready for this? Are you ready for this? How they used to make map lights back in the day? Oh, it's a flashlight. Oh, it turns. You can point it. This is... Does it go the other way? Indeed, it goes the other way. It goes everywhere. Why don't they do this anymore?
Look at the maroon interior. Look at this shiny fake wood. Oh, this is wonderful. You ready for the 0 to 60 merge time? Here we go. Start the timer.
go.
All right, foot on the floor. Here we go. 25, 30, 35. Oh my goodness, 40 miles an hour. And then it shifts into third. 45, getting past. Foot still on the floor. There's 55 miles an hour. And 60. I should put a timer down there so we actually see what that was.
Yeah, sure.
This Reliant K features a 2.5-liter 4-cylinder single overhead cam engine making 90 to 100 horsepower and approximately 136 pound-feet of torque. Although who even cares? It's all crank anyway. How much is the torque converter eating up? And let's just say it's going back for seconds. Fuel economy back in the day, they claim 20 city and 25 highway, but the owner, Phil, is estimating he's getting around like 28 to 30 highway. So, great. Phil did have a problem with the car stalling out on idling, but when he switched over to non-ethanol fuel, he never had that problem again. The ride. I wish you had a virtual ass to feel what I feel right now. How is this economy car so smooth? It feels like a Buick Regal. Granted, this Reliant K Wagon is still mint, but the rubber suspension bushings are still 31 years old. My guess is that the long travel, thick tires, and a light body does a lot of the work for us. Plymouth Reliant, for the man who finishes his orgasm by saying, "And that you can take to the bank." Most K-Wagons were column shifters with front bent seats. But this example has a console shifter. Ooh, sporty option? Is the gearbox different? Nope. Still a 3-speed with no overdrive. It's just operated from the floor now. Do you get a handbrake? Nope. The parking brake is still on the floor, like a minivan. This car went through a variety of changes over the years. On one hand, it was Motor Trend's Car of the Year in 1981, alongside the Dodge Aries. But no legend ever really escapes the auto industry unchanged. It's a business of constant evolution, for better or worse. I mentioned earlier that the first sales were 151,637 units in the first year, but the final year sales were 36,012 units, which sounds like a pretty steep and consistent drop-off over an 8-year span. But when you look at the production figures for 1988, the penultimate model year for the Reliant K, the production numbers were at 125,307 units, which was better than either of the 2 years previous. So what happened that led to production being holstered like a decaying revolver? We can only guess, really, but one hypothesis is that the base model of the Reliant was renamed the America for 1988, in addition to 1988 being the final year for the station wagon model, if station wagons accounted for a sizable chunk of the production figures for the Reliant, and Chrysler felt the era of the station wagon was in decline. Then it stands to reason they would stop making it altogether. But it certainly is a steep and sudden drop rather than a slow bleed over a long period of time. If you remember, the K-Cars replaced the Volare and the Roadrunner, which, while not necessarily sexy cars, were sexier than the Casio wristwatch K-Cars. And yet the K-Cars still collectively sold 1.1 million units over its lifetime. Reliance and the sister Dodge Aries weren't really highway cars. Chrysler wanted you to get a New Yorker or a V6 Caravan for that. This will road trip, but sustained 70 miles an hour, climbing westbound to Pittsburgh is going to ravage the 2.5-liter cast iron single overhead cam, single port injected 4. Single port. There is one fuel injector, and it's just going the entire time. Oh, it's computer controlled. Great. That means the computer tells it to turn on and off when the car turns on and off. My parents had a first-gen Caravan with one of these engines, the 2.5s back in the day. My relatives had a cabin up near Burlington, Pennsylvania. It's up near the New York border. And when we were driving up through the real Pocono Mountains, my dad would announce, "I'm turning off the air conditioner. We need to get up this hill." And he wasn't wrong. This simple power plant was given AP workloads with only remedial prerequisites. If the 1993 Dodge Shadow reminds me of driving with my friends in high school, the 1988 Plymouth Reliant reminds me of riding with friends' parents in middle school. You see, Paul Kramer said his dad will take us to the Frackville Mall tonight. It's the Schuylkill Mall. No, it's the Frackville Mall. It says Schuylkill on the sign. Yeah, but everybody calls it the Frackville. Only you call it the Frackville Mall. This is a stupid conversation. You gonna eat all your mashed potatoes? Yeah, relax. I'm done. Take my tray back. Take your own tray back. I'm putting my tray under yours. Just take it back when you take yours back. If you even touch my tray, I'm throwing all my corn at you, and I don't care if I get sent to the bad table. The end of the day buzzer rings, and Friday thoughts of pizza by the slice and Orange Julius and Vectorgraph Star Wars video games fill our minds. See, this is way before marching band and competitive marching band, so our Fridays and Saturdays were free in middle school. And I look forward to the smell of air hockey table air blowing in my face as I hunch over the table because this is the game point. And Kramer's dad lets us choose the radio station on the way to the mall. T102 is the only station that comes in clear, but when you're with friends, who cares? What's Your Frequency Kenneth is rattling through too much treble speakers, and Scott Brensinger is riding in the way back. And I finished my math homework and social studies worksheets on the way home before this, and everybody piles out of the Reliant. I'll meet you by the payphones at 8 p.m. Brian, do you have a watch? Yeah, it's waterproof. Then you're the leader. See you at 8.
Finally, we did a K-Car. It's a Reliant K. We could not wait to drive it.
And that you can take to the bank.